Hanks, and we are sitting in the heavy traffic headquarters in Grass Valley, California. I've got...
And I'm Brittany Heit. I am the founder of the current version of CouchFam, and we're here to answer some questions.
Yeah, out to the Mal label crew.
Yes.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you. Happy to be here. It's an honor.
Indeed. Go way back with that crew and lots of good people. Much love to you guys. Thanks for the support over the years.
All right.
So we'll start out by talking about our start in the music industry. I go back about, 20-ish years to the late 90s of just being an early raver kid, going to house parties with DJs and such while I was in college at Humboldt State. House music for the most part, and it wasn't until I started attending some parties in the Grass Valley area with my little cousin Mercedes.
Shout out Mercedes.
Shout out Mercedes. With people like Mr. Rogers, and at the time he was playing some like psytrance stuff, but there were a couple of drum and bass DJs in there, and it was just a big eclectic crew of people, and I was exposed to so many different types of genres, but I knew that was the scene that I wanted to be in with the music scene at that time in my life, in my early 20s. And I then moved to South Lake Tahoe, and we were with a crew called Gravity Crew. We were throwing a lot of Renegades and bar parties and things like that. The crew was like 6 or 7 DJs. Everybody played something different. So our lineups were always, house, breaks, drum and bass, hard house. And then I met my husband, Greg, aka Confusion, with that crew. And we decided to move to Santa Cruz after a couple of years in South Lake doing those shows and such. And we met up with a bunch of people in Santa Cruz doing drum and bass and house parties. It was, the Rain Dance family, Little John, and then guys like Matty G and Nick Argon, and E-Prom at the time was Killjoy, and we did like little side drum and bass and breaks rooms while the front was always house, and did that for a couple years, and then drum and bass sort of phased out into some really wonky type stuff we weren't into, and at that time dubstep really hit the scene. It was like mid to late 2006, and we can thank Nick Argon and Maddie for bringing that to our ears, and we started up Santa Cruz Dubstep and met up with the Subwise gang and Rostatronics and 187 Sound and the Dub Pirates and that whole crew, and we threw some parties with everybody for a couple years, and then we decided to move at that around 2010 and came up to the Sacramento area, and we just kind of kept going with what we were doing, and that was the start into the midsection and to about 10 years ago. And then we started up our record label and such, but that's way down the line, so we'll get to that.
My start in the music industry, my journey in the music industry is actually still very new. I didn't really officially start working in the music industry until I started CouchFam back in March of 2020, but I've been a music fan my whole life, and started out sneaking out of the house, going to clubs when I was 16, and 17, going in high school, and sneaking out for a whole summer. I was going to clubs like 4 nights a week. I just love being around music. Nothing gives me more joy, and so that's been a common theme my entire life, where I seek out music and environments with people who love music and people who play music and live and breathe music, because come to find out, so did I. And it really wasn't until I moved to the Bay Area in 2015. I was never really exposed to like the raver scene at all growing up on the East Coast, where I'm from, in Florida and also Richmond, Virginia. And it wasn't until I moved here in 2015 that I was really exposed to this like California rave culture and the dubsteps, you know, Santa Cruz dubstep scene and, you know, Bay Area, whatever. And I went to my first festival in 2016. It was Symbiosis, and I bought a ticket to go by myself. And because I just really wanted to go, and I wanted to check out this camping festival thing that everybody was so talking about all the time. And that was it for me. I was like hooked after that. I was like, holy shit, these are the people that I want to be around forever. And like, look at, you know, and I had just gotten a master's degree in experience design. And I was like in this environment that was like built by people who are experienced designers in one way, form, or another. So basically what I guess I'm more of like a super fan, or, you know, and I have been my whole life. And I like to call myself nowadays a professional hype guy because, you know, my desire to work in the music industry is fueled by my gratitude to people like Lauren, who have been doing this for so long and live and breathe it. And, you know, I feel like this is like my way to give back.
Brittany Heit.
Brittany Heit.
Brittany Heit.
Professional hype guy at your service. Yes.
So why don't you go in on how CouchFam became a thing? How did you decide to start CouchFam? I would just start the OG story.
Yeah.
It's probably, you know, I wouldn't say it's embarrassing, but it's like...
It's totally embarrassing.
But whatever. I mean, that's what has to be talked about.
So CouchFam, as it exists today, is actually a second iteration of an idea that I was a part of back in like... I think it started in 2016 and went all the way through to like 2019.
18.
It was 2019. No, it was Halloween 2019. It got shut down.
Okay.
But what it was what it was, it was a group that was birthed from, it came to be around the same time that live streaming became a thing on Facebook. In general, like it was a brand new technology. Yeah. It was just like a new feature that Facebook had added that people were just kind of, I think it had been out like a couple months. And CouchFam was a group of people who would go to shows and live stream the shows from the show to a group of private, you know, it was like a private Facebook group. And we had this like really crazy vetting process to get into the group because it was centered mainly around ssnectar shows, he who shall not be named. But I mean, it's part of the history, you know, it's like, he's a piece of shit. We all know that, but this is part of the history and it's, you know, doesn't do anybody any justice to not, you know, leave things out. Yeah. Sure. But there's a reason for this, and it's a good one, I promise. ssnectar hated the idea of people live streaming his shows, and we kind of thrived off of that. You know, allegedly, and I don't know if allegedly is even the right word because it's just word that we received from the team, more or less, but that he didn't want us to, like, you know, he didn't want people to record the whole shows or whatever. But the problem was that he was making his events and his special events very inaccessible to his fans by having only like 4 regional events in various places in like the East Coast and the Midwest over the course of the year. You know, and also being from the West Coast, that meant he never did any shows on the West Coast, so I'd always have to fly to the East Coast. So it was like, you know, you had to make a certain amount of money in order to be able to go to these shows. And a lot of people have families, you know, to have jobs that don't afford them the ability to fly across the country for shows. You know, people weren't able to go, you know, always able to go to these shows. And so what CouchFam was born out of was, you know, this desire to share these experiences that we all loved so much, going to these shows with the people who weren't able to go to. And, you know, by live streaming, and like, yeah, we all knew that like that wasn't an ideal scenario, that wasn't going to replace live shows, that, you know, it's always better to be able to go to the event. But the fact that it, you know, we were making it accessible in a very like rogue renegade way, Bassnectar did not like this at all because he wasn't selling those tickets. You know, like these were people that he could potentially be making money off of. But he used to claim that it was like, oh, it's not the same experience, and you know, it's not the same as being there, which we all knew. We all knew that.
Yeah.
And
if
in
you
fact,
watch a video, you're gonna know that that's not the case.
I know. And what ended up, what I actually saw throughout this whole process was like people in the chat being like, I can't wait to go see the next show. I'm definitely going to the next one. I'm not going to miss it.
Promotion.
So if anything, it was promotion. Yeah. But he didn't like it, and you know, that was fine. It was whatever. It definitely, and so I spent the next like 2-3 years like sneaking camera equipment into Bassnectar shows and like hiding it and like getting it through security and getting caught sometimes. And I definitely made a name for myself with the Bassnectar security team. But I didn't give a shit. It was all worth it. It was part of the fun anyway. And every time that I got stopped, it just made me want to do it more. And I was recording. So what I was doing was I was recording these sets, you know, like Electric Forest, like whatever. And I was going to all these festivals. And I would put them in a Google Drive and like provide them for CouchFam, but only the people in the group. And we kept it private for a reason because, you know, we were trying to not get shut down, and, you know, because he was doing everything that he could to try to get us shut down. And it wasn't until Halloween of 2019 that was able to come to fruition.
I actually got you shut down.
I actually got the original CouchFam shut down. But that was, you know, an incident. But it, you know, it is what it is, and it happened. And you know, Rob, I can't believe I've gone this long in this story without mentioning Rob, my homie Rob DC. He is the founder of the original CouchFam, and he was the one who asked me to be a part of the original CouchFam. And so I've been, you know, working with him for like, you know, years now, God. But, you know, so when this happened in 2019, you know, Rob and I talked about it, and we were like, you know, agreed that like it was time that, you know, CouchFam like just lay it to rest. You know, it was a good run. We're tired. I'm tired of sneaking camera equipment into the shows. Tired of being like hunted down, you know, like, and getting yelled at by security guards and people from the front of the house and whatever. And then March 2020 hit, and quarantine started happening, and I saw, you know, my friends, I have, you know, so many friends in the music industry now because, you know, me being a super fan and all. But I saw my friends losing, you know, bookings, and Lauren was, you know, her artists were losing bookings, and everybody was despairing over it. And what are we going to do? Like, you know, tours are getting canceled. And so I hit up Rob, and I was like, Rob, I know that we, you know, agreed that, you know, CouchFam was dead and like whatever, but I want to start a new CouchFam, and I want your blessing, you know, because obviously you were the creator of the original one. But I want to take it and do it not in underground, but like in front of everybody, and actually like raise money for my friends who are are losing their tour gig income and suffering right now, and, you know, do a new CouchFam basically. And he said, yeah.
But utilize the old group with its followers that you already had.
No, those
right?
They were all gone.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that group was gone. It was yeeted into the universe on Halloween 2020. I remember that. I'll never forget that night. You want to talk about your phone getting blown up by 5,000 people? Yeah. It was wild. But, you know, RIP to the original CouchFam. But this one is still of the same, you know, the same vein in that it's bringing bass music home to the people and making it more accessible for people. You know, when I had just started CouchFam back up on March 13th, when everything had started happening, and I started seeing my friends losing their tours and their shows and all of the, you know, income that they would be making, you know, on the road, and which, you know, subsequently leads to her not making money as well because she's an agent. And I saw all of this pain that all of my closest friends and people that I loved were going through. And, you know, I was talking with some friends, and, you know, CouchFam was like taking off. We got 10,000 people in that group in the first like 2 or 3 days. It was nuts. And I pitched it as, you know, a place where where live streams, where anybody could discover a live stream, because there were so many, artists were starting to take to live streaming, and I was seeing that starting to happen, and people starting to stream to Facebook, and people starting to stream to Twitch, but there was really no like central place to find out about these streams. They were just kind of like floating out there around in the universe, social media world, and there was no like centralized place. And so I recreated CouchFam to be that place that people could go to find out about live streams. Meanwhile, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, and you knew that we, with us, with our radio show, we had been streaming our radio show for like 10 years.
Yeah, so they knew what the hell they were doing.
And she was like, I needed people that were familiar in that world, as well as, the visual part of it, who's tech savvy with the visuals and whatnot.
Yeah, so Lauren and Greg were, the streamers and also the people with the experience that I didn't have. Ethan was the one with the tech skills and the visual skills. I mean, he's just an insane artist. And
you bouncing ideas with Keisha of like, do you think your artist would be interested in that? And her asking me the same thing. Would your artist be interested in that? And it was like, with everybody's, connections and minds combined, it was like, we need to do something.
Yeah. It affected all of us, even though I'm not an artist, I'm an artist, but not like a, publicly facing artist. My DJs, homies, and VJ homies, and everybody was just like despairing over this catastrophe that was happening to all of us. And so it seemed like the right thing to do, is like, let's what do we need right now? We need music, and we need to be together. We can't be together physically, but we have a way to do it digitally. Yeah. So let's get together. Let's see who wants, let's just hit up whoever we can. Like we were asking all kinds of people.
Oh yeah. And she was like, so I got this idea, and I'm just gonna run it by you.
See what you think.
What do you think about a fundraiser live stream festival? And I was like, yes. Yeah, son of a bitch, I'm in.
Yeah, she sent me the Rick and Morty meme that was, son of a bitch, I'm in. That was like literally her response, and I was like,
and we went to work like right away. I mean,
yeah, we did. It was that day. That day we were already like coming up with ideas and like what we were gonna do and how we were gonna do it, and
since we were home with nothing to do, I mean, you had a job still, but you had been told to work from home.
Yeah.
And I had a job. I was working a couple days a week at a horse ranch, so around no people really, just animals. So I still had like 5 days a week where I had time, and we just spent every day,
every waking hour,
on group chats with our core group of people, which is like Jesse and Ethan and me and you, and Greg was a part of it too, and we just brainstormed everything that we can do, and we came up with an idea that was absolutely groundbreaking and the first of its kind. And we've done research, we've looked to see, and as far as we know and can recollect is we were the first online streaming festival of its kind.
And of its size and of its type.
Right, and we were the first to simultaneously stream live visual artists, aka VJs, and live DJs patched in together to create a set that was audio and visual at the same time from all over the world. I mean, we had people from the UK, from Europe,
New Zealand,
Australia, all over. And we streamed for 48 hours straight, nonstop live. I think we had a couple pre-recorded mixes.
We had like 2 or 3.
And that was it. But for the most part, it was just all live. And we had that going within 10 days. And she brought the idea on like March 16th, and by the 25th and 26th we were that was our festival.
Yeah, from the concept, like from the moment that it popped into my head to full event completion, it was 10 days.
And it was almost 100 artists involved. It was like 70 or 80 or something like that.
I think. Actually, I have stats.
And of both VJs and DJs. And we had, the guys in Denver. Everything was streaming through Ethan's computer in Colorado. And, he stayed awake for 2 days straight to make it happen. And you know, they couldn't like go shopping or do anything, so we were sending them, you know, Instacart, or I don't even know what we were using, but
the first one was just him.
Sending them pizzas and
popcorn.
any kind of snack possible.
We're like, what do you need?
Yerba mates, and you know, because her and I both slept through that a few hours here.
I think I slept a total of like 3 hours.
Yeah,
the whole time.
And it was incredible. It was like we had about 3,000 people in our chat viewing, and from all over, and the general consensus was just like, oh my God, thank you so much for doing this. This is saving my life.
I still get people that say that to me.
I've been depressed and not thinking that anything was going to happen, and you know, we're just all at home, and I'm having a dance party in my living room.
Yeah.
And we even had people send us videos of them getting dressed up in their festival gear and just
pretending they were at a
raving
festival
out
in their living room.
It was amazing.
It was so cute.
It was incredible.
I live for that shit.
And you know, we were kind of the first. I believe we were on the first group of people to actually incorporate tips for our artists and have their PayPal's linked to, you know, the overlay of their set, and be able to have people donate directly to the artist.
The first one we collected tips in a general pool.
Yes.
The second one we put up their personal links, because every time that we've done an event, we've done things a little bit differently to try to improve and try to like figure out the best way, you know, to get, you know, these artists' attention, or, you know, to get eyes on their tip links, you know, like maybe, you know, get people to like slide them some money. The first one we did, you know,
collective pool.
It was the collective pool. We raised almost $10,000 for that event, and distributed every dime equally amongst all of the people who participated in the event. And, you know, Lauren and I haven't made a dime off of any of the events that we've done, for, you know, any of the Couch Fest, Cyberdelic, any of the, you know, 32 Mixtape Mondays that we've done. But, you know, it's because it's just not about us.
Well, we were also fortunate to still have a paycheck through all of that.
We were gainfully employed still, and, you know, we wanted to focus on the people who were actually losing money and suffering from, you know, all of these closures and cancellations, and, you know, and we got a lot of really positive feedback from the artists and from the people who were viewing, and, you know, some of the artists were like, you know, wow, thank you, I can buy groceries this month now. I was like, what?
And it did, like you said, we were able to change things and make them better every time. You know, the second one we did live as well, and after that we were like, okay,
no more live.
The live is really hard. It does degrade quality of certain things, whether it's changeovers or the video or just whatever, and we moved more towards a pre-recorded content layout
for events, definitely for
the big events.
Because like, obviously, you know, I think that what I've learned over this process is that like live is ideal, but you know, it's difficult.
And we still were incorporated live every time.
Yeah,
live
totally.
Block of people, you know, during a prime time.
Every event we do, we have definitely have like
prime
live
time
elements.
Hours. You know, like
you get that chat interaction, and you know, people can call for rewinds, and you know, it's just a little more fun that way. But so it's better with like a combination, I think.
Exactly.
And we learned,
and it made it easier for us to have a large scale event, to take a lot of the live aspect out of it, you know, but still have some in there, but not a ton, because it became really difficult to organize it all, especially considering some people have really crappy internet, and some people, you know, don't have the recording capabilities at their homes. You know, they've got to go somewhere to do that, and during the pandemic that wasn't really easy to do. So we just worked with what we could over those 3 events. You know, the first one we did in March, the end of March. The second one we did a month later in April. And then we took the time off. We started Mixtape Monday somewhere in there. And then we did our 1-year anniversary, March of 2021. And then in between there we did Cyberdelic with Shields, and CouchFam became like a partner with a lot of live streaming events because of our experience with the events that we had done on our own, including like, I remember when we got hit up by How Weird Festival in San Francisco, they wanted help being able to stream How Weird because they weren't going to be able to do it in person. And it was like, wow, we reached that far out of like our, you know, our knowledge on this, and they've seen it and they want our help. And that's like How Weird being one of my favorite, you know, San Francisco festivals of all time. That was like a big thing, you know.
It's definitely the best.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. And then seeing things like even Burning Man taking some of the things that we had done and put out there as like the first time it's ever been done, and incorporating that into what they were gonna do. And it meant a lot, you know, even though it's not like we're given credit for things, and it's not like we're looking for credit for things, but we just knew that what we had done was a stepping stone for a lot of these people who were actually doing things too, and that's pretty cool.
June 30th of last year, I quit my job to work on CouchFam full time. I have been designing a interactive live stream guide, so kind of playing on that original idea with the Facebook group and taking it kind of to, you know, off of Facebook and into its own, you know, space where somebody can go to and discover what live streams are going on at any given point on, you know, across the internet, and be able to filter it by like genre or time of day, or, you know, what type of stream it is. You know, if I want to, you know, I know I'm coming over to Lauren's on Sunday night and I want to, you know, look up and see like what drum and bass streams are happening that night, I can do that way. And so, you know, I'm a UX UI designer by trade, and, you know, have these designs all laid out, and just have been looking for, you know, an engineer to help me build it. But that's one portion of it. I've also taken it to, wanted to take it into the IRL festival space, and I have this whole concept with, you know, with this package, like pick and play deal, where, you know, we can bring out this, you know, this chill space and provide like a comfy, like vibey place for festival attendees to chill. We can provide harm reduction services if you want. We can provide an elixir bar with non-alcoholic drinks if you want. We can provide a sound renegade stage if you want.
Earplugs and condoms.
Earplugs, condoms, healthy snacks. But, you know, just like providing like an extra additional experience to like a festival, and also simultaneously be able or offer recording and live streaming services. So, you know, have this, you know, this other portion of the package where if you want, we can choose some sets from your festival and, you know, ask permission from the artists in advance and record the sets, and like maybe some of like the festival, take video, like get some really good high quality video, and put together this piece of content of this person's set that the festival and the artist can have. And doing that, and then in the future would also, you know, like to be able to bring, you know, offer live streaming services too, and provide, you know, maybe in the future like build you know, our own like pay-gated streaming platform, and be able to stream from, you know, some of the sets from a festival under the festival's name, and have have it be an additional revenue stream for festivals. So those are all, so, you know, some of the things that we have working.
And so far, CouchFam is partnered with, we've been at Still Dream 2021.
And we'll be again this year.
And again this year. And
Unts Festival this year.
And we were unofficially at the Unts last year too.
There was very unofficial.
It was super unofficial, but honestly, that space was utilized by almost every single DJ that played that festival. They came through and hung out on your couches.
And that's what we're trying to do.
We've slowly been building, you know, what we bring to it, and you know, the chill space area is constantly changing and growing, and that's really cool. We're at the Antidote in you know, the Sound Pieces Antidote Festival. So a few under the belt now, and looking to do more, and live streaming, or, you know, recording some sets and then playing it back on CouchFam, which has a very solid, large following of 14,000 people on Twitch. and replaying that, and linking all of the socials and things for the festival and whatnot, because it's just all about plugging everybody and getting everybody exposure, and that's like all we're here for. And what came of COVID for us was being able to utilize whatever we could at our fingertips to keep the sound going. And seeing so many festivals, online festivals, come out of that, like down the road after we had done even our first two, was pretty cool, because just nobody was doing that. And then, whether or not they knew we did it or not, I can't say that like the Live Nation streams knew that we were doing what we were doing, but
absolutely not.
It still feels like, we were pretty groundbreaking on that. And so I am back to work, luckily, as an agent, and have been taking bookings again for people. I've even gotten international artists are applying for their visas as we speak and coming back to the States. And things are picking back up, and that's beautiful, and that's why I think that the idea of like starting to incorporate in real life events for CouchFam is the way forward, in conjunction with having it still be what it originally is, with being an online streaming situation, but
live stream aggregation service,
right? But IRL too is very important. So shout out to the Mal label crew.
Yes, we love you guys. Thank you so much.
Us. And we hope you guys all stay safe and happy out there, and keep it inclusive, and love thy neighbor.
Yeah.
Peace out, y'all.